try.
In recording in progress.
Yep.
Okay. So what ended up happening is I had to go and sign right back in as the host. That's what I thought I did the first time.
Okay.
So it wasn't letting me for some reason. So we should be good now.
Yeah, we are good. We're good. So I think
Okay,
we can,
excellent. I'm sorry.
I think
Okay,
we can
computer
now
technology.
officially start.
Okay.
Wow, Mr.
So
Tim.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
Well,
Thank you for allowing me to to be on this interview today. I really appreciate that.
okay.
So thank you very much.
Anytime. You're welcome.
Mm.
So amazing. It's so good to have you here. I'd like to officially introduce and open the interview to flow. Welcome to R&I TV, and we're streaming from Nakuru, Kenya.
Mm.
And it's such a privilege. Guys can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, R&I TV, YouTube at R&I TV, so that they can get access to this interview. And I think some can also join. I'd like to recognize the presence of Espila, a very close friend and a
Okay.
partner for that matter. So
Okay.
Mr. Espila, you're welcome. And there's also Danilo. Um, Welcome. So my name is Janice. I'll be your host, and we have a guest by the name Teanis Tillmon, who he's a very special person, and actually we meet in a very funny way, or is it we discovered or we noticed each other in a very funny way from our YouTube platform. That's when you sent a comment. I think it was on the beauty salon or something, right? So
Mhm.
he was like, he wants us to perform an interview for him, of which that's what we do. So welcome so much, Mr. Tinis.
Mhm.
You're welcome, you're welcome. So I want you to feel free. And in Kenya, we say karibu sana. That's what we
Karibu sana.
and your yours is to say asante.
Asante. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm still learning, so it's going to take me a little bit. So I'm working on it.
It's okay. It's okay. So I think we'll just go straight to our interview without
Mhm.
wasting time. So for that matter, I know who you are, right?
Mhm.
But there's okay, those who are watching, they don't know who this is. So kindly tell us who is this Mr. Tinis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Teanis Tillmon. Teanis is Teanis.
Okay.
Last name is Tillmon, Tillmon. I
Mm-hmm.
am from Plano, Texas, and the United States.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're from Texas?
I might not, well, I moved here to Texas about 13 years ago, but I'm still from the States, but I'm from another place
Okay.
called Milwaukee, Wisconsin originally. That's cold place. That's lots of snow there and lots of cold there. Okay, so we moved to a warmer climate, and
Oh,
that's Texas. So I've been here for about 13 years now.
wow.
So I moved here with my wife. He she's in law enforcement, so we moved here based on that. So we moved from one place to another.
So you don't like move from one place to another willingly, it's because of work, right?
Well, people have options. For us, it was about work. Yes.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So, Mr. Tennis, you've talked something about you moving to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Kindly come up again for the reason.
Okay, so yeah, Texas is a very usual. It's a very big place here in the United States anyway. And so we live in what's called the Dallas Fort Worth area here in Texas.
Mhm.
That's like the suburbs of Texas. So it's like Dallas, Fort Worth, and that's kind of where we live on the suburbs of that. So that's we call it Dallas just because it's the biggest city, but yeah, it's where we live.
Wow. So, Mr. Teanis, kindly tell us what do you do?
So what do I do? So basically I study self-defense, but I study self-defense from an African perspective, meaning culturally, I want to be able to get to the remnants or the origination of what we used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then what end up happening is I end up putting in other different types of things that I do. So for an example, lots of people teach around the world called martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, uh, that's something I used to do years ago until I found out what we do. So um, my area of teaching self-defense is called the Montu arts. That's kind of what the origination is. And then I associate that for modern times. So I use like technology, for self-defense, like firearms, for an example,
Mm-hmm.
and all those other things. Because we live in modern times, we don't live in ancient times anymore. We live in modern times.
So,
So,
okay, you say that you teach self-defense using
yes,
the modern technology.
yes.
So, where do you teach this self-defense?
Okay, so here there's martial arts schools. I do private sessions. I do. It's based on a need. So, for an example, I'm available for private security companies.
Okay.
I'm available for people like that. But most of my clients have been people who have come to me in reference to learning self-defense concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of where I've been teaching it. So, martial arts schools, for an example, I've been utilizing their studios.
Okay.
And I do private set martial arts studios, like places where people have schools.
Okay.
And then I've been teaching there. And then, of course, I do what's called one-on-ones. I do some other types of teaching, like Zoom, like what
Mm-hmm.
you and I are doing right now.
All right.
Okay, and then things of that nature. So I've had lots of one-on-ones that people really want to learn that way. So for school purposes, it's growing,
Mm-hmm.
but people like one-on-one. So I do a lot of that.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So, you've said that you train like private companies and also people come to learn. And sometimes you teach them one-on-one, or sometimes you can use the Zoom app, right? So,
Right. So yes. Mhm.
what like motivated you into teaching people this martial arts and self-defense?
Okay, so it basically started with learning self-defense, and well, I learned martial arts for. Let me see, I'm older now, so I don't want to say I'm an old person, but definitely I'm a I'm a younger older person, right? So
Okay.
I've been doing it since I was a kid for many years. So I started out in martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I got involved with law enforcement. So I became a police officer.
All right.
And so in law enforcement, I really wanted to know more about what we do in police work. So one of the things I liked was training. So I like teaching, and so in law enforcement we have different types of things. For an example, I worked as a boat officer, so we have lots of water. So I was a law enforcement officer for the water.
Okay.
So we train in canine and all those other things. So I really wanted to become a teacher.
Really,
Okay.
a teacher.
Yeah. So yeah, because I really love what I was learning. And I had learned martial arts. I knew there was more to learning martial arts from an Asian perspective. Asian martial arts like karate, judo, kung fu, all those are
Okay.
all those are Asian arts. So I wanted to learn African, our African way. So I really wanted to understand that. So that kind of took me back to my roots.
Oh, so like basically you're more of an African.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I wanted to, right now I'm taking a test kit for, ancestry,
Okay.
right now. So understanding all about the roots from where we originally come from, of course, because there's a long history there, right? But
Yeah.
my idea was to understand more about where our history roots came from. So that's kind of how I started.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I met my teacher or priest, we would call them. And so I was enlightened by him. He gave me the framework to the arts that I do now. Here in the States, he wrote 5 books.
You
And
wrote
he
five
wrote five
books.
books.
You wrote 5 books.
No, he wrote 5 books. My
Oh, he
teacher
wrote.
did.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, yes. So I was under his teaching for a while. So give me 1 second. I'll show you. So for an example, I know I should have brought this, but for an example, I'll put it up here. So this is one of the books that he wrote.
Oh, wow. The Shades of Menmon.
Yeah, Memnon. So that's a long history in itself. But the art that I'm referring to is in that book. It's
Oh,
called Shades of Memnon. Yeah.
amazing, impressive. So, Mr. Tillmon, let me ask. You've talked something about you teaching the martial arts, something of the sort, right? Do you by
Um,
any chance have an institution?
I'm sorry.
Do you by any chance have an institution where you can like conduct your teachings freely?
My institution right now is growing, meaning um, finding a place to be able to have everyone come to. Right now is just moving parts
Okay.
because of our um, stationary stuff. So right now it's all about doing something small and growing that way. So there's some things in progress right now. So
Oh,
yeah,
so it's still in progress. Um,
yes.
if I may ask, kindly please talk about some of your
Mhm.
arts into details apart from the Memnon, right?
Okay, so the art in the book series, or the art is called Pankarashin. It's
Okay.
in the book series. That's a Kemetic art from the Kushites that refers to it's like an all-encompassing combat system. So let's look at, for an example, like MMA. You know what MMA is? Mixed martial arts.
All right.
They have Ultimate Fighting Championship. So the art combines boxing, wrestling, stick fighting, knife fighting, all these different arts together. So that's called that art. So in the ancient times, what we used to do is we used to train our military that.
Oh, oh. So, yours is it to teach the military or you teach individual people? Anyone
Okay,
who's
so
interested in wanting to know self-defense, or you
right,
you specify?
yeah. So as of right now, we've had lots of civilians, but security people want to get involved with it because the whole idea behind it is it has some historical components to it.
Okay.
So yeah, so people are very interested in the historical or the history or the component parts of it, meaning where did it come from? Who actually learned it? So people like that part of it. So that's kind of how it's been up until this very point.
Okay. So you teach both the military and individual people, isn't it?
No, as of now, it's private security companies.
Oh, private security companies.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling us some of the private security companies you've worked with, if you don't mind?
I've worked with people in the past. I've worked with many security companies in the past. Individuals that have come to me for training and defensive tactics. We've had people come to me for baton training. They like batons, the sticks, the baton sticks,
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
like that. I've had people come to me for learning chemical agents, so like pepper spray stuff, less lethal stuff, less lethal training.
Yeah.
So I've had security come to me for that. Yeah. So I've had people come to me that in the past, nothing recent, but in the past.
In the past. So my question was, what are some of these private security companies that you worked with?
Um, right now, okay, so some of those companies were Oh, I mean, it's like I have to look them up now, but I've had interest. Okay, so for an example, right now, to give you an example, there's a company called Allied Universal right now security. So AUS. So that's a company right now that my goal is to work with them because I work for them now,
Oh, okay.
right? So as of right now, um, I am the training officer and the compliance officer for where I am right now.
Okay, where are you? Kindly.
So yeah, so in Texas here. So what I do is we do compliance for officer equipment training and safety. I deal with training them in use of force, training them in compliance areas of security training, that kind of
Oh, okay. Okay, amazing. So,
thing. Yes.
if I may ask, how did you realize that you have a passion for this arts, like the martial arts or the self-defense thing? How did you know that you have a passion?
When I found out that we actually had, well, for me, it was all about um, knowing there was more to what it was that was historical, if you will, or culturally rooted. And
Okay.
if it was always, yeah, it was kind of a desire to know more, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. And so that took me on that journey. So I've been doing this now for 16 years, 17 years, somewhere
16,
like that.
17 years.
Yes.
So,
The
okay,
journey has been quite long.
I can tell, I can tell. 17 years, it's not easy. So, Mr. Tennis, how old
Mhm.
are you? How old were you when you started this?
Make it seem like it's ancient. Long
No,
time ago.
we're trying to be realistic because I'm trying to calculate the span.
So,
You said it's 17 years, right?
15?
15. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow.
But I
Okay.
guess you do want to know how old I am now, right?
I think I can tell. I can just add up 17 to 15 and then I'll get your age. But
Mm.
that's just a by the way. So if I may ask, who was your mentor or who mentored you into what you're doing today?
The person I mentioned before that wrote the 5 book series,
Okay.
uh, his name is Gregory Walker.
Gregory
And
Wockham.
yes,
Okay.
and so Gregory Walker wrote the 5 book series, and so I've been under his tutelage and teaching. So um, for me, I had how can I put it? Lots of moving parts in my
Mm-hmm.
life. So, I learned different types of arts and skills and different things along the years, but he gave me the blueprint of understanding history from our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so I've been under his teaching ever since.
So you've been following strictly his teachings, right?
Yes.
Sir, kindly talk about your childhood before you started this arts or before you started training people the self-defense and even before you realized that you have a passion for this. So how was your life before?
My life was very unique to say the most. It's very unique. I was raised in the inner city. I was a very inquisitive kid. Um, I wanted to learn something different and something new, but what really drew me to martial arts was Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee was the guy that everybody loves Bruce Lee, right? So I went to Bruce Lee movies as a kid,
Okay.
and so I was just fascinated with how that was and what that looked like and kind
Mhm.
of what all that was about. And that's kind of how I was as an inquisitive kid. I wanted to know more about what it is that uh, I did. Learn more about what is that, what type of art is that, what does he do. So I was young. I
Okay.
was a kid. Yeah.
So you grew up in Texas or?
No, I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Milwaukee, yeah. So Milwaukee is an upper place in the United States. It's next to, it's called the Midwest. So
Okay.
you have, yeah. So in the Midwest areas, kind of borders Canada. That means it's cold there. That's what it means.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's
I
cold
can
there.
relate. I can relate.
Hmm.
So, Mr. Tennis, what was your parents' reaction when you first told them that maybe you want to like use this path, or parents have a different kind of way of raising their kids, right? There's a way
Hmm.
that and there's a path that you'd like your kids to follow. And what happens if they go astray? So, what was your parents' reaction when you like maybe went to the opposite direction?
Well, you mean as far as what I learned then or what I'm doing now?
Okay, I understand you had a dream, right? Let me start from there.
Okay, so you're referring to when I was a small kid.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because you said you started this when you were 15 years old.
Yeah. Hmm.
So by then, your parents had something that they wanted you to do, isn't it?
Um, no, I mean, my mother was like, well, keep him out of trouble,
Okay.
right? If you don't find something constructive to do, you become destructive, right? So you're in the streets, you're right causing a lot of problems, running with gangs, and all that. So for them, it's oh well, this sounds like a good thing.
Okay.
Place of instruction, yeah.
So
So she didn't have a problem with it.
in short, they were impressed. Were they like impressed with what you're doing, or they were just okay
No, she was like, yeah, she's like, okay, tell me a little bit more about it, okay, and all of that, right? But she said you like Bruce Lee anyway, so for her it was like a connecting the dots thing, more or less.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
somebody is asking a question. How long does the
Yes.
training take in terms? Is it monthly? Is it yearly? Or how do you go about it?
So for an example, people, I mean, I give it all depends on the person. So people take single sessions,
Okay.
right? So they take single sessions, meaning I want to see what it is I like about it,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, and then others um have been with me up to 2 years.
All right.
Okay, so up to 2 years. So it all depends on the person.
Okay.
Yeah, because once people find out that
Mm-hmm.
they're learning something a little bit different, they're
Okay.
not accustomed to that. Right? Yeah. So, mhm. So are you familiar with um, Israel? Are you familiar with the Israelis?
Um,
Israel? A little bit.
a little bit, just like
Okay,
yeah.
so okay, their system, they have a military system that they teach their army.
Okay.
So yeah, so our system kind of looks like that now because we have to incorporate our technology in with our self defense. So it would kind of look like that. If you I just want to give you some idea of what I'm talking.
Okay. Wow. So
Mhm.
back to our question again.
Mhm.
Do you think that so far, with the progress that you've made your mentor so proud, or do you think that there's still more to do?
Yes, he's very proud of what has been accomplished because I myself like him know that there's more right to what people do, right? So for an example, he says, we've had our own way of doing things. Knowing that part of it kind of brings you back to some form of originality.
All right.
And that's kind of what it's all about. Even though we were born here in the States, right?
Okay.
So like I said, there's a lot of history to that. But culturally, you understand you have roots here,
Mm-hmm.
roots there, right? Africa, you have roots there. So
Okay.
what you want to do is find out a little bit more about that. Yeah. And then grow from there. So he is happy about what the progress is being made. Yes.
Oh, impressive. So let,
Mhm.
let me ask you, uh, it's normal
Mhm.
for everyone to have a dream. So, Mr. Tennis, are you living your dream as an individual?
Yes, when we come into the consciousness of knowing who we are and what we're created to do, like the purpose we have on this planet,
Okay.
um, yeah, there's nothing more to me more exciting,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Than to do that. Yeah. So I wake up every day knowing that I'm doing that now because before I didn't know. Right? I'm just going along. But once I discover, well, I can do this for the rest of my life, kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah. So to me, what I do is not like it's not just like a job or a business. To me, it's just like a way of life, kind of thing, if you will. I would just say that.
So,
Um,
it's more of a way of life for you. So,
yes.
are you trying to tell me that you're not passionate about what you're doing, or what's your main point?
Yeah. So I'm very passionate about what I do, but for me, like I don't just like teach a lot of self defense. For me, self defense has different components to it.
Okay.
One of the components to it is mentoring, coaching, training, right? Because we have youth and have younger people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you want to help people to understand a little bit more about that. So that self defense I mentioned is a part of it. Okay, so that teaching or sharing or empowering, if you will, I look forward to doing that. I love to do that. So um, when I was a kid, just a side note, when I was a kid, my uncle, I used to love to talk when I was a kid, like a lot.
Okay.
And so, and so, and so, and so he used to call me Motor Mouth when I was a kid.
Okay. Wow,
That's interesting, right?
it's very
He didn't
interesting.
know, yeah, he didn't know what it was going to become. But as a kid, I used
Really?
to love, yeah, you talk, kind of thing. So, right, yeah. So that had to be shaped, but yeah.
Wow. Ish, that's something I didn't expect.
Well, because he was my uncle, and that's you know, um, he didn't know what my life was going to end up to be, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely, um, to me, you find out what gifts are in a child at an early age. There's something about them that's unique and different, and then that's kind of who they are.
Okay, yeah, true.
So, yeah, so that's already embedded in you. So your to me, your job or your purpose in life is already there. When it's born, it's already instilled in you. So we know that to be true. It just has to be shaped and it has to be cultivated, like we do the earth.
So, just to proceed on, Mr. Tennis,
Mhm.
how have you impacted your society or the area that you live in currently?
Um, all the people I've talked to right now really love what I do because it's different than what they are just used to, right? So when you're able to talk to someone from the pyramids or from Africa, from that aspect of things, it's different because it's bringing a new enlightenment. I want to call it enlightenment because they're saying, "Well, I didn't even know that they had this there, or I didn't know, you know, that this came from there." For an example,
Okay.
um, when the pyramids along, of course, we know the Nile and in the ancient aspects of Kush and these different places of how we know the Nile to be. There was no Asian temples. There was no Asian martial arts. There was no none of these things going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have the oldest writings there. So out of our history comes Asian aspect of arts, the kung fu, the karate, the judo, all the things that you see, because these are remnants of, okay? But we are the foundation of. So that's kind of, yeah. So people like that. Yes.
So thank you for that information. But my question is, how have you impacted the society? Can the society stand up for you? Like maybe let's say the government doesn't want you or your institution to go on. Can they like stand up for you and say that Mr. Teanis did something for us? Mr. Teanis helped solve this and this. So how have you
Oh,
impacted
I
the
see.
society?
I
Yeah.
see.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, right? There is areas of the states where there's consciousness there.
Okay.
So so meaning that they're teaching this information and education from their perspective. So right now, our
Okay.
government and our place where we live is very liberal. Okay, meaning it's like an open deal, right? So like the Asian aspects of the United States once was not here, right? So it's here now.
Okay.
So people have accepted it into society, right? So
Yeah.
that's accepted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I've been doing so far has been accepted in society. People like it and they want more of it.
Wow. Impressive.
Nobody has said no, we don't like it, and yeah, nobody
So
said no, we don't like it, we don't want more of it.
somebody is asking, do you pay for the teachings or do you offer teachings voluntarily or people do pay for the training, for the teaching? Or
People,
how can they go about it? Is it
people have
voluntarily?
come to
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people have come to me in different ways. People have found me online,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they look up and they say, "Oh, I see you do this."
Okay.
Right? I've had that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had referrals. I've had people contact me on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I've had, so there's different ways of communication that people have done, but most of it has been from something of that source. Not everything has come through Google, right?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
But it's Facebook. Yeah, it's what somebody knows. That person knows that person. They will say, "Hey, I heard about this. Tell me more about it." That kind
All
of.
right. So
Mhm.
so in short, you charge for the training and the teachings.
Yes, it's all on my website. Yes.
So if I may ask, here in Kenya we deal with, is it a shilling? So how much is it?
How much is it?
Mm-hmm. How
Okay,
much?
so
Depending,
okay,
can you wait? Depending on the time. You understand? Maybe there's someone who wants to be trained for a week. There's someone who wants to be trained for a month, a year. So how much does it cost? Do you charge weekly or daily?
so for us it goes by session. So if a person like is $50 an hour,
Okay.
so $50 an hour is very reasonable.
Fifty fifty
There's some
thousand
yeah,
dollars. $50,000, right?
no, $50, 50,
Oh, $50.
50.
Oh,
not
okay.
not yeah.
All right, all right.
Right. So yeah,
Wow.
we have to. My goal for me right now is to
Uh-huh.
make it affordable for the consumer.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The goal for me right now is not a. But to me, I guess it's just the way that I am.
Okay.
I'm not like a money person. Yeah, I'm not a money person.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is that I'm a teaching person, right?
Okay.
So for me, it's a heart thing. Yeah. So, but I do like to get paid for my time, so I make it affordable for people to come and learn. So, like $50 an hour is very, very reasonable,
Wow.
right?
So you
I
charge.
know people who charge $1,000 an hour. Huh?
Okay. Uh-huh.
I know people who charge $1,000 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Some people charge right 200 an hour,
Okay.
right? So it all depends on what they're teaching. But to me, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to make it affordable, so when people want to come and learn, they can afford to learn.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Impressive. I remember there was this COVID season, right?
Mhm.
So how did it affect you?
COVID.
Yeah, the COVID
Uh,
season.
uh, uh, yes, the COVID was things went down dramatically since COVID because of the students, right? People didn't want to come. It was all about the mass deal. So it was hard for a minute. So it was people did not want training for a while. So my goal now is to bounce back from that. So people are slowly starting to do things again,
Okay.
right? Slowly, but yeah, COVID has done a big things to schools here in the US. Some schools have closed down because of that reason.
So how does this affect your double life, either positively or negatively? But let's start with the positive effects. So how has this impacted your life positively?
For me, it's impact my life because it has meaning to life.
Okay.
Meaning, yeah. So for me, it's all about what am I here for? What is my purpose? Why? What am I supposed to be doing?
Okay.
Right. I know people right now who work a job they don't like, right? But they have
Sure,
to pay
sure.
bills, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But right, so if you love what you do,
Mm-hmm.
right, it gives you a meaning for life. Yeah. So for me, it's all about the meaning. What am I here to do? What is my purpose in life? What I'm supposed to be doing? The who am I person.
So
Mhm.
I'm still waiting for your answer because you've not answered my question. How has it impacted your life?
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, it's impacting my life because it's giving me meaning when I wake up every day,
Uh-huh, okay. So
right? So yeah, so go ahead.
and do you think it consumes much of your time, like what to do? Because I understand you interact with so many people.
Okay.
So do you still get time for you and your family, or you're fully dedicated to what you do? Because I understand there are some people who worship what they do, right? If you find that somebody is a teacher, that person worships teaching more than the way they like spend time with their family. So, sir, kindly tell us how do you cope up with time management?
Yeah. Well, people like I've heard people say, um, can you turn it off? Right. But I've had that uh, you know balance. But I guess for me, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, I guess time management, it all depends on how a person looks at it. So for an example, spending time with family is important, but you are a teacher wherever you go, for an example. So you're going to teach if you have time with your family, you're going to teach, right, whatever, in different ways, right? I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to open up a
Sure.
session and say, right? But the spirit is strong, right? The spirit is strong. So, like for an example, I know you are a news person, but you have a personality or an energy that wherever you go, people notice that about you.
Okay.
So you can't actually turn it off, but
Yeah.
you do have balance. You do create balance, but you just can't like turn it off, on it off like a light switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm this today, I'm that tomorrow. I'm this today, I'm that tomorrow. I'm this today, I'm that tomorrow. So you're kind of that person all the time. But
Okay.
balance is true. You need balance, yes.
Wow. So we're going to take a short break because we have so many questions coming up. And
Sure,
I'd like to introduce you to someone. This person has been
sure,
yeah, so he's going to say hi. And for the meantime, before he comes, there's a question. You tell us
sure.
about the turnout for the trainees, and what are the reactions of the trainees when you teach them?
What are the directions you're referring to?
No,
Is
the
that is that what that
reactions,
person
as
is?
in no, as in like what are the reactions? Do they come out of the place happy, satisfied, and do they receive the services that they expected? You understand? So
Yeah.
what?
So
Yeah.
So most of everybody that has come to our training has up to this point right now, I have not had any problems.
Okay.
Most of people that come, their whole issue is longevity. So, for an example, if you were to go to a karate school, for an example, and
Okay.
you say, I want to become a black belt in
Okay.
karate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you do know that takes some time, right? So you do know
Mhm.
that there's a process involved. So the longevity is that people need to do that. But anytime as anybody come for a month or a session or been there for 2 years, everybody that has stayed has liked it up until that point. Now, whether they want to continue is up to them.
Okay.
Yeah, uh, but I haven't had any dissatisfaction about what I do now.
Wow, impressive. So and what's their turnout? Do they come in large numbers or just a few?
Like earlier I mentioned in the beginning, it's all about ones and twos
Okay.
mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my sessions have been people who have been inquisitive. Like, number one, what is this?
Uh-huh.
Because number one, the name is different,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
right? So, the name is different.
Mm-hmm.
The background is different. The information is different. So people are inquisitive. They want to know what it is they're learning. Mhm.
So Hivya, so I'd like you to say hi.
Hello, Mr. Teanis.
Greetings. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you finally.
Yes, you too as well. Thank you. You as well.
Wow, wow, wow. I would like to say I really enjoyed the interview and it's very informative.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Looking forward for more to do with you more, and also it's great to empower people in terms of what you're doing. It's very unique.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Teanis, you're welcome back.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So just to proceed, so tell me first, have you ever been to Africa or have you ever been to Kenya? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. What happened?
Sorry for that. My internet just misbehaved.
Okay. Yes. Okay. No problem.
So back to our question. So have you ever been to Kenya or Africa, as a matter of fact?
No, I would love to come. I am so wanting to come. I mentioned earlier, I talked to you. My cousin lived in Kenya for about 20 years.
Okay.
He met his wife there, yeah, and had a couple of children. So these would be my third cousins, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so he brought them back to the States, and he lives here with his wife right now, and of course with his kids. So his mother is my aunt.
Oh, okay.
So but he's lived in Kenya for years, and so um it is my heart to come there. Yes, I want to
So
really bad. I really do.
what's the common phrase that you've heard about Kenya? Kindly, or what's that good thing that you've ever heard about Kenya?
Well, start. Um, Lupita Nyong'o is from Kenya, so
Yeah, true.
the
That's
actress
true,
from
by
the
the
Black
way.
Panther. Yep. So that's an inspirational area there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I um, I spend a lot of my time doing research or understanding how your law enforcement is, your military there is, how Nairobi is,
Okay.
and stuff like that. So, where's the vacation spots? You know, where can you do what kind of thing? So, yeah, I've been looking.
So in short, and okay, let me ask you, have you ever heard about, okay, what do you know about the staple food for Kenya? Is where I'm headed to.
Do I know about it?
You don't know anything about the staple food for Kenya. And your
Like, so
cousin lives in
I don't
Kenya
know.
for like,
No, I don't know. My cousin was there.
okay,
He was in the film industry.
all right.
So I honestly, um, I don't know much about that part other than his past as far as the things he's done. But um, my goal is to learn more.
So
In other words, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay, just go on. It's okay.
So my goal is to be able to share with what I have here
Okay.
and share it with people there. Yes.
Impressive. So let me just give you a hint. Anytime or any day that you come to Kenya, if you hear people saying ugali, that's a staple food for Kenya. Okay?
Okay. So when you say that, what do you mean by that? When you say that,
Ugali, it's like it's a type of food.
food,
It's food. Ugali
like
is food.
the food you eat,
Yes, food, the food that we eat.
the food. Okay. So the food you eat. Okay. So
So
what
it's
you'll have to do, so what you'll have to do for me is like tell me the name, right, and then show me pictures,
okay. I'll send you the
right?
pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
The name
Make
is
this, yeah. I don't know.
but the name is Ugali and the Skuma Wiki. But apparently, Skuma Wiki, if you translate it to English, it's push the week, direct translation.
Okay. So you guys eat tacos and hamburgers there?
Hamburgers. Okay, they are burgers. I know they are burgers, they
Yeah.
are hot dogs.
Do you have McDonald's there? Do you have uh fast food restaurants there? I mean, what do
There's so many fast food restaurants. There's so many, but okay, this is a discussion for another time. Kenyans
Yes, yes.
consider ugali to be a very precious meal for them.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's made of maize flour and water, just like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll have to. Yeah, you have to. Educate me on that one. I
It's
don't know.
okay. It's okay. So we are both okay now. We are both okay, right?
Hmm.
So back to our interview. Where do you see yourself in
Yes.
the next 5 years?
Well, I see myself in the next 5 years doing what I do everywhere.
That's not an answer.
I see myself in the
It's
next
it's
5 years.
it's,
Yeah.
it's basically a statement. So where do you see yourself?
Well, I mean, I see myself. I mean, for me here, having my school or schools the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Um, being able to bring, like I said, some of the knowledge there, because of course,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's my place to be. So I want to be able to share connections and have contacts and start building a bridge, if you will. And
Okay.
so, and having that in 5 years. So that's my goal.
So, Mr. Teanis, do you consider gender in your training, or do you train both genders or just one gender?
No, men and women. Yes, very important.
So you don't consider any gender.
No, because if I believe that women should be able to protect themselves.
Okay.
Yes, because with the world that we live in is so dynamic and it's changing all the time. And right, people are different,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want people to be safe, so we definitely want women to be able to protect themselves. No question about that.
So, Mr. Teanis, you talked something about training individuals, right? Let me just go back to that point. Have you by any chance gotten an opportunity to train government officials, or you just train the normal manager, the common residents?
My goal up to this point right now has been either private individuals or security. Right now, they are the most receptive right now. Law enforcement, I think, want to. I think it it's politics. Politics. So, right, any outside entity, it's challenging because they don't want, certain things because they have their certain way of thinking, right? Politics. So, but I'm working on them. There's certain technology pieces that I think they're interested in. I was able to sell one of our flashlights to an FBI person, right?
Wow, okay.
So it kind of looks like this is the small version, but I put it up into the camera so you can see it. So it kind of looks like this. So this is our attack flashlight deal.
Wow.
So somebody bought one of these. Okay,
So
so they
you own these, right?
yes, I'm the director and the trainer. So yes.
Wow, wow. And if I may ask, you mentioned something also about you being a police, and right now you've mentioned
Yes.
you sold one of your flashlight to an FBI personnel. So have you ever worked for the FBI, or you were just
No, no, I haven't worked for the FBI. No, my wife does. But I can't really disclose what she does. It's
no,
kind
it's
of
okay, it's okay, it's okay, I understand. So in short,
yeah. So I can,
sometimes you work hand in hand with your wife to maybe train people, or she's
yeah, she does government work for them, but definitely my law enforcement experiences. I've been on patrol. I was a patrol officer. I worked in 4 different agencies. So two of those agencies was as an officer, and then the other 2 agencies where I was training as an officer. So do training. So I was a training person. So I have a lot of law enforcement background experience from working with different agencies
okay.
and training, being a police officer and such. So my background is big as far as the training part of it is concerned.
So Mr. Finis, do you have a plan to extend your institution in Africa at large, or also in Kenya? Do you have such kind of plans, or you just want to focus in Texas?
Yeah, I really want to, but people that I really want to connect with is people who are really wanting to establish that type of foundation, right? And so definitely, I would love to.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm saying we're being caught up with time. So the last question is how far has your school expanded, or how far has your teachings spread in terms of the area that you
Um, well, right. Honestly, it started out very, very small because again, people don't know about it, but over time, it has grown knowledge base wise, which means that people do know about what it is that we're doing or what my goal is to, right? So right now it's all about creating a foundation of basically a building where people can come, but people do know about it. Yes, they do.
impressed?
So, but it wasn't like that in the beginning.
So you
Yeah.
can say there's
Let me just say this really quick.
okay.
Yeah, well, let me just say this really quick. If you are creating something that's been out around for thousands of years and then you want to bring it forth, um, it's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult to do.
Okay.
It's been one of the most it's been one of the most challenging things I've ever done. Because as I mentioned before, it was kind of like the Bruce Lee story, if you will, right? And when Bruce Lee came here in the '60s from China, nobody knew who Bruce Lee was,
Yeah, true.
right? Okay, so now it's catapult where Bruce Lee is world renowned. He's all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, right? Yeah, he passed away and all that. But I'm saying is, in his lifetime, he had many obstacles because nobody understood anything about him from the Asian perspective. But of course, that's kind of how my situation is. So when you're bringing something from the pyramids, right? And so so if you are bringing something from the pyramids to people, nobody knows what that is
Okay.
because now you have to, yeah, you have to articulate what it is you've learned, and so people have to learn it, and that's been one person at a time, one person at a time, one person at a time, and it's kind of been that kind of thing that's evolved over time. Mhm.
Impressive.
One of
So,
the most biggest. Man,
okay, sorry to cut you short. Continue, please.
it's been one of the most biggest challenges I think I've ever had.
Oh, I can
Yeah,
tell.
because
I can
everybody knows.
imagine. I can imagine.
Yes, because if you start explaining to people what the pyramids look like, and so um, me, I had to articulate. I had to read the writings off the wall.
Okay.
For an example, they call it hieroglyphs, right?
Yeah.
That's what you know, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but nobody has taught you that the word actually means lecture. That's the African term, right? For the true writing. The true writing is Medunetter.
Yeah.
What we've learned is hieroglyphs. See? So you have to learn now what the Medunetter means because that's our actual wording, our classical language. See? So that's something that has had to happen over time, where people have to learn what that is. Mhm.
Wow. So, I think we'll have to end our interview for today because
Sure.
I believe we'll reschedule it some other time, right?
Sorry.
We'll have to reschedule our interview for some other
Recording
time
progress.
because I believe
Absolutely.
you have more information to disclose to us, and I had so many questions to ask you. So, kindly just give us your parting shot. I'm caught up with time. I think next
Sure.
time we'll have to start early, maybe at around 5 p.m. on our side, that is.
It would be so if it's 5 p.m., that would be 9 a.m. my time.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm. That would be my time. Yes.
So kindly give us your parting shot as we wind up.
So my website is streetdefenseresearch.com. An email address is streetdefenseresearch@yahoo.com.
Okay.
Um, so I am on social media. I'm on a Nine World Chronicles channel.
Mm-hmm.
I am, of course, on Facebook and stuff like that. Not so much Twitter, right, and other things, but I'm on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm on a few places in social media.
So people can find you there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for allowing us and giving us an opportunity to interview you.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward for an interview next week, probably, if that's okay with you.
And next week, okay, next week. Yeah, so let's talk about that, and what that looks like.
It's okay.
And see, yeah, and see because next week is going to be kind of hard because I will be on vacation all next week.
All right.
So it would have to be sometime when I come back, or sometime in the next month after that or something.
But it has to be soon because I don't want this to expire, and I don't want people to get their minds off this because I know they are still expecting more, and so many questions are coming to me. Just that I can't ask them right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it has to be soon.
Yeah. So I tell you what. Let's talk after my vacation then.
Okay, it's okay. Sure.
Yeah, so I have a work schedule. I'll be, I'm gone. I'll be on vacation, so I'll be kind of, so 12 days I'll be gone or something like that. So let's connect and then we'll talk more. Okay. I mean, after that, another week or two.
It's okay.
Is that
It's
okay?
fine by me. It's fine by me.
Yeah. So a schedule. So I have to give you like a potential date. And then we can go from there. Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I appreciate it, Simon.
thank you so much, Mr. Teanis. To our viewers, right now it's around roughly 7 p.m. Some few minutes to 7 p.m. And
Okay.
I guess on your side it's around almost 11 a.m. in the morning.
It's 11:20.
11:20.
Yes.
So here it's 7:20. So thank you for staying tuned to R&I TV. I've been your host, Jonas Koikai, and let me just recognize the presence of two audience. That is Danilo and Espila Caleb. Thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for the questions. Looking forward for another interview that is next, maybe probably next month, roughly, because unfortunately, Mr. Teanis is going to a vacation, and of course, he'll need to have some private time with his family and friends. So thank you so much, Mr. Teanis, for the information. And
Yes,
just
ma'am.
to let you know, he's in charge of one institution, and the name of that institution is Street Defense Research Institute, and it's in Texas. But he has said he offers his services online for those who are far and can't reach out to him. And he doesn't specify on any gender. He trains both genders, strictly self-defense. And I think he has talked about something to deal with martial arts and also combat. Do you do anything concerning combat arts, if I may ask?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Do you train anything about combat arts, or it's just martial arts and is it pankar Roshan or something? Karate
Yeah,
is
Pan Russian. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah, so I sent some information in the inbox for you
Uh-huh.
to read.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But we teach the Mantu arts. So Mantu arts is there. So that's what that not martial arts. Martial arts is the Roman deity
Okay.
person. Mantu is the African person.
Okay.
So
It, it,
yeah,
it's
so
it's
it is
almost
so that's
similar to that mutu. In Kiswahili a person is called mutu and you're saying montu. So there's a way those two words are relating.
so how do you say Mantu in Swahili?
I don't know the meaning of montu, but it's relating to how we call a human being, because a human being in Swahili is called mtu. So montu, and you said montu is a person. So a
Yes.
person in Swahili is mtu. So those two words are kind of relating.
Mutos.
Mtu.
Mutu. Okay.
MTU, mtu. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. What I'll do is next time when we talk,
Okay.
I'll put some pictures and stuff so you can see that.
It's
So
all
you
right.
kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, because imagery is what you need to see so you can see what something looks like.
Yeah, sure.
Hmm?
Uh-huh. So
But
just to wind up, and also Mr. Tennis has managed to train private security companies like the AUS. This is just a summary of what we have discussed, and people go to learn to him sometimes one-on-one, and before he was a police officer and also a boat officer. So that's what I can disclose to our audience at this particular time, and there's more. You can still find more on our Facebook page, and also we'll do a voiceover concerning Mr. Teanis Tillmon and his institute to inform you more. At least right now I have an idea of who Mr. Teanis Tillmon is. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to say your name right, Koikai, right?
Kai, yeah.
Yeah, Koikai. So I'm still trying to say that name. So I'm still working on it.
It's okay.
But I definitely appreciate it.
I understand. I understand. So
So thank you so much for this time. I appreciate that.
thank you too, and have a blessed day.
You too.
Okay.
You too.
Okay.